A penultimate anything is always significant. The drink before last call, the final port of call before the cruise sails home, the romantic fling before that final spousal commitment. Put them all together, the vodka Collins Ensenada and a tube-topped attired local senorita, and you've got, at the least, something significant. Keep that in mind as GSRC brings you this penultimate something. Joshua Banks and J.R. Shepard handcuffed together like the defiant ones, Curtis and Courtier, in a season-long chase whose outcome would be determined tonight, perhaps in these 100 laps before the final 100 laps. Yes, indeed, sanctioned by the Bootleg Racing League and sponsored by the Cruise Shop from the Bullring in Las Vegas. It's the penultimate round of the Outlaw Modified Series 2019 Winter Season Championship, and you can see all the simulated SK Modified action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. From the city built on sand and broken dreams, hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. Yours truly, Bill Soupzon, along with Adam Lindgren, filling in for Sean Crackers Ambrose today to bring you our Word's Eye View. Joe Picas, director duties, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. All right, Adam, I'm a poker player, and the words that get my heart pumping are shuffle up and deal. Tonight, in this GSRC press box, it's going to be chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug. That is the pulse quickener. Tell us a little bit about this non-felt covered part of Las Vegas.
Non-felt covered is right. Located just over the fence from NASCAR's Premier Series previous stop, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Bullring lives up to its ominous name. Clocking in at just over a quarter mile, this lopsided 0.38 oval features a unique backstretch kink that harkens back to the Phoenix of old, and its tight corners force you to get hard on the binders and really light it up for its relatively long straights. Its unusual full-circuit pit road is also unique, with drivers entering and leaving the pits on the backstretch. This track may be small, but as you're about to see, it brings lots of action and excitement. For a preview of how the drivers plan to tackle the Bullring, let's jump on board for a GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a sprint around the Bullring at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the GSRC SK mod. So here we go. Off of turn 4, bring it right out to the fence, down into the turn 1 area. You can kind of get on those rumble strips if you need to. It doesn't seem to upset this SK mod all that much. It's a very unique oval. It feels like it never ends, but it has such tight corners and the radius in the middle of the corners. There we go again, out of turn 4, and this is going to complete our track guide here. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
That lap guide, as well as everything on this broadcast, is sponsored by the Cruise Shop. The Cruise Shop has been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Give them a call today at 260-755-6125 or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The cruise shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. All right, Soup, what do our driver standings look like going into this race?
I am dedicated to fulfilling the viewers' dreams about seeing the points here. All right, you look at it right there. Joshua Banks and J.R. Shepard. We talked about those two guys being handcuffed. They have been close all season long. 3 points separate them. Now, here's the deal. Banks has 4 wins. Shepard only has 1. JR can't afford to have a bad race tonight and let Banks get out of striking distance. So hopefully Shepard can close the gap a little bit for himself and all of his fans, and we'll have a great battle going into the season finale. Donnie Moore has been close. He's winless. He's 15 points back, really not in the mix as far as the championship goes unless disaster strikes both Banks and Shepard. Chris Passini holds station in 4th position. And welcome back to the overlay after a first-round win to open the season. Been a while since we've seen Matt Chinaski. He's up 2 spots, sitting there in 5th. All right, let's go ahead now and talk about the race details. Adams, how's this going to play out today?
Well, Soup, as you were talking about penultimate rounds, this is the penultimate round, round 10 of 11 for this SK Modified Series. We've got a 100-lap race, and they are allowed to pit, but they're not allowed to take tires. They can take damage, they can repair damage, they can take fuel, but no tires are allowed. They've got a fixed setup that's been provided for them, and there will be a lucky dog, as well as thankfully, one fast repair so that they can make sure that they get their new car out there and ready to go. The grid inverts the top 12 drivers of the previous race, thus encouraging some more intense racing. And let's move on now to the grid.
17 drivers are here today. We got a little bit of time of practice to go. Relatively small field for what we're used to seeing. I can tell you that both the big names are here. Joshua Banks is 3rd in practice. For what that's worth, practice times really don't matter much other than giving the commentators an idea of what's in store. J.R. Shepard sits right behind them. How about lap times, you may want to ask? Well, how about 14 flat? That's what these guys are running. There you're looking at the number 66, and there's the old number 22 out there. That's got Dan Butler, a newcomer. He works his way out of, that looks like corner number 4, down across the start-finish line. Now, Jason Menda was scheduled to start on pole tonight as he finished in the 12th position last round. I don't see him here today, so I'm not sure how that's going to grid out who we expect to see on the pole. It will mean that Joshua Banks will not be starting 12th. He'll be starting at least 11th or higher, our winner of our last round.
Yeah, it looks
Tristan
like we've got
Martz.
a new face here, Tristan Martz. Looks like he's putting in some decent times. He's got a 14.222 as his fastest lap. That's going to be pretty competitive up here, but at the same time, like, everyone's putting in really fast laps right now. You were right. 14 flat is definitely the time to beat right now.
And just to give you an idea about lap times, our fastest time held for right practice time by John Hine, 13.9. Our slowest practice time, well, really, if we go to Ruben Altis, a 14.2. So only 0.3 of a second separating the front of the field and the back of the field for the most part.
Yeah, these guys are super tightly knit together. This is going to be an exciting race for sure. It's going to promote a lot of close racing and hopefully some good passing in 2-1.
As always, we like to do a Shanowski watch, and I only see one of today, surprisingly. Oh, no, they're both here. Tim and Matt. Tim out there in the number 00. Matt in the 07, a pair of brothers. One more handsome than the other, but we won't mention who's who.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping my eye out to see which line is preferred for passing around this track. From what I remember, I believe it's the bottom line is the preferred line, so the top line is going to struggle a little bit, but that's not going to stop people from trying. And these SK Modifieds can really hook up coming out of the corners, so I'm looking forward to that for sure. And we're right now looking at Dan Butler going around the track, getting passed on the outside. Looks like he might be thinking about heading to the pits.
Weather always plays a factor in one of these. Let's take a quick peek and see how the iRacing's Poseidons has set this up for us here today. Ooh, 68 degrees is kind of cold air temperature there, or 65, the track temperature is 68, so should be plenty of grip. But it's weather for our two-dimensional fan.
Yeah, we also got a 14-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the southwest, so at these speeds it won't affect them that much, but it might cause just a little bit of instability coming into those turns, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well.
You can see that the sun's setting here as the lights are brightening up the track as the sun begins to set here in Nevada. There's Robbie Robinson, not up in the points very high, faster than his point standings would indicate. He's been on his roof a few times this season. Currently sitting 5th in practice. Another driver to keep an eye on is always excited, the number 14 car of Kenny Kibbe.
Yeah.
Kenny's got it parked right now. There we go. Kenny must be feeling pretty confident with what he's got. No need to go out there.
Yeah, and you were saying about how the times are so close. Kenny's got a 14.1 clocked as best time, but right now that's putting him ninth on the timesheets. And going into this race, I mean, that just shows how competitive this race is going to be. We're looking forward to it for sure.
We are 10 races under our belt so far this season. Only one wire-to-wire winner. And of course, that came from Joshua Banks. And honestly, all the winners have been 4th, 5th, 6th. We have actually one coming from 12th. Again, that was Joshua Banks. But the inverted grid makes this series really exciting and puts on some great racing.
Definitely. We're right now looking at Mike Allen going around being chased by Robbie Robinson, and this is just a little preview of the challenges people are going to have while they're trying to get past one another and chase one another around this track. You really got to stay tucked in and right behind, get it hooked up coming off the corner so that you can get underneath, hopefully, going into the next turn, and really hook up underneath and block the other guy. Make him take the long way around so you can then hook up and take the next corner at full speed as well.
And of course, saving your stuff is always important. 100 laps, no new tires, so you can't burn it all up too early. And that's one of the challenges that these leaders will have, these point leaders who are going to be gridded farther back in the track. They got to work their way through the field. So they got to have a little bit something left over when it's time to go racing for real. There's Austin Boyke. Is that now that Belke? There we go.
Well, there's some 3 wide. Not usually what you're used to, but oh well.
That's why we're not used to it. That didn't get that one out of the way right now.
There's definitely enough room for 3 wide, but with the straights kind of tightening up a little bit coming off the corners, it can get pretty hairy pretty fast if people aren't fully aware that they're 3 wide. It's definitely not the fastest way around the track, that's for sure.
Just a few more minutes left in practice before we go green. Gives us a chance to look at some of the drivers, give a little screen time to everybody. There's Kurt Smith. We've seen him race up front with the fast guys and be stuck in the back with the, the less than fast guys. We'll put it politically correct. There is Brian Dean. Always a competitive driver. Boy, I love that shot right there. You can see the sun going down. You can see the lights, the light reflection being cast through the mist.
Yeah, and with the sun continuing to go down, it's likely that this track's only going to cool off even more. So this is going to be a really, really cold race for them. Not something that they probably have dealt with that often. So there's going to be a ton of grip coming off the corner.
They have 3 different events that they race. GSRC only broadcast the final one here in the SK Modified. The event that went on before this one, I believe that was in the, I don't know, I don't think it was the street stocks. I'm really not sure what they were racing, but very clean race, finished very early. Late models, there, our director told me what was going on. There you go.
Yeah, that late model race sure was exciting. There was a lot of carnage, but it was definitely close racing, especially around the 3rd and 4th spots. They were doing a lot of side-by-side, so we're looking forward to more of that today. Right now we're following around J.R. Shepard, and his he's starting to crank out some really fast laps. JR Shepherd's down to a 13.939, so that's quite quick.
3 points behind Joshua Banks in the points now because of the regrid. Joshua Banks won last time out. JR Shepherd finished behind him. JR will get grid ahead of him, so at least he'll have the guy he's chasing behind him in his rearview mirror as soon as he can hold. Well, his nickname is Pardon and Thanks Joshua Banks. Joshua not scared to say, excuse me, I'm coming through, and thank you. There's our points leader.
Yeah, Joshua Banks' performance this season has been really impressive. His consistency as well. It's really looking like the championship battle is really heating up, but at the same time, these two are really, really solid on the track. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll see some really good battles between the two of them.
And if you could ever look at the point structure, it's really close together. There's not a lot of separation in points between finishing positions, and there are no drop races. So you talk about consistency. You have one bad race. You have one where you don't finish where you're supposed to, and man, it's really hard to get those points back because it's almost like a point per position, and it's just, you got to work all season long to get it. And you would think that with Joshua Banks having 4 wins and JR Shepherd only having 1, that the interval would be larger than this 3 points, but that just goes to show you how closely these points are laid out.
Definitely. Well, now that practice is starting to wrap up, I think I might have jumped the gun before, but it might be time, maybe, just maybe it might be time to take a look at our grid.
We can do that, and since we have time, let's do it a row at a time. That we don't usually do it that way, but this will be kind of fun. Okay, on the front row, I'll take this one. It is John Hine. He's going to be flanked by Mike Allen.
Second row is going to be Lowell Jewell and Ruben Altice.
Dan Butler sits in the 5th position inside of James Lowe.
We got Matt Shinowski, and then we have the JR Shepherd in 8th.
Okay, now that's interesting. He's going to be in the outside of row 4. On the inside of row 5, and this may not be good for Shepherd, is Joshua Banks. He's going to be flanked by Todd Liston.
That rounds out the top 10. Then we have Robbie Robinson starting in 11th, and outside of him is going to be Kenny Kibbe.
In the Baker's Dozen spot, that is going to be Brian Dean. Right next to him, he's cited by the newcomer Tristan Marks.
Austin Bulkey is right on the 15th spot, and then we have Tim Shinowski, the brother, in 16th.
And then the last 2 drivers out there is in 17th and 18th, Kurt Smith and Zane Farrell. Only 18 drivers. I was hoping at least we had 21 so I could say somebody was in the blackjack position here in Las Vegas. Not the case. 18 cars. All right, they are lined up 2 by 2. Pace car coming out of corner number 4. We're going to finish that first lap.
Traction off the line is not going to be an issue, but what is going to be an issue is making sure you get a good jump. When that leader goes, everyone's going to have to, hopefully they got spotters and everyone's ready to really jump on the gas here, because you're going to need to be really tied up next to the guy going into turn 1 in order to maintain and hopefully pass the person ahead of you.
Pace car pulls in, going into corner number 3, turns over control of this race to John Hine. Hine out there in the 21.
Nice.
Waiting. And chug-a-look, makes you want to holler, Idaho! It is John Hine leading the Stampede down into the first corner. Oh, and they get together, and there goes the guy on the outside of row 1. Turning around, that was Mike Allen. Oh, and they pile in behind. It's an octopus putting on its socks. Also involved in that one. Joshua Banks involved in it. Tim Shinowski.
Yeah, that has some... We're going to a replay now. That has some huge point implications. Let's see what happens here.
The big one is Banks, who was on the inside. He goes to the outside trying to get out of the way. There's no room.
Yeah, Mike did not get a very good run into that first turn. He then comes down on 3rd place. Look at that. He comes down and gets spun. That's no surprise with him coming down onto 3rd place like that. 3rd place just has to hold his line, but it looks like Mike Allen really...
That was Tristan Marks in the 28 machine that got into the right side of Joshua Banks, turned him around in the wall. Nothing wrong with that. It was carnage. Tristan's just looking for somewhere to put the car. So, we talked about it before. There is no tire change, but pit lane is open. There is a fast repair, and this actually could be a good news for Joshua Banks and those guys who picked up damage. If you're going to injure your car, I guess might as well get it damaged up early, get it fixed, and go out there and keep racing.
Yeah, so Joshua is in. Looks like he's coming down. He just crossed the finish line now, so he's rolling into his spot. We'll see whether or not he takes that new car. And looks like he does, and he's going to roll out now. We also had Lowell Jewell on pit road, as well as Dan Butler, Brian Dane, and Tristan Martz.
So up front, it's John Hine, started on the pole. He was able to miss all that stuff that went on behind him. You know, you get an accident going into the first couple corners there from the front of the field, you're going to get a big one.
And this promotes J.R. Shepard up to the 4th spot. He's starting outside of row 2 going into this next start. So this really does have big points implications, and this is JR's best shot to really stretch his legs on that points.
Pace car is in. Let's go ahead and try this one more time. Gather up the chicken steak covering on the cows. The horses are out of the barn, and it is John Hine out in front. Stuck on the top side is the 11 of Ruben Altice. Watch the blue number 98 gave a little hello back there to James Lowe, and actually now moves up into 3rd. The 98 is on the move.
As is JR, he's up into the 3rd position, getting underneath the 11. The 11 of Ruben Altice is really getting freight trained here. He's head to the back, it looks like.
One more spot for the multi-time champion of Shepard, now into 2nd position. Oh, John Hine, that is not good news for you, because that 98's coming, and it's feeling good. Rounding out your top 5, James Lowe, Mike Allen, and Matt Shanowski.
Joshua Banks all the way back to 11th position. This is really, really a crisis for him. He's got to start making inroads up to that front pack, or else he's going to really fall off the back of the points championship here.
Yeah, I would hate that. I hate this phrase when commentators use this. If the series were to end now, and it's not, so why do I bring it up? But if it was, you'd have J.R. Shepard would be your champion. Banks turns, well, and maybe he turned him around. We got the yellow. It's Kurt Smith. Let's see now. No, he did not turn him back. I don't even think he touched him. Kurt Smith, boy, look, man, Banks dodges a bullet there.
Yeah, Kurt just got his left wheel onto that flat part right underneath the banking, and that just unweighted that left rear tire, which spun it up, got the rear axle spinning, and then he just goes around. Good thing for Joshua Banks that he was able to dodge it and get moving.
That's right, because he already burned his one fast repair. He doesn't have any more of those, or excuse me, spare cars. I'm not sure what the nomenclature is for this series. So this is interesting now. John Hine, who's been out in front the whole time, he'll have that preferred inside spot. He's got the man who is the man, J.R. Shepard, going to be outside of him. Maybe that opens the door a little bit for James Lowe, who will be inside of row 2, but don't count on it.
And looks like Kurt Smith decided that even though I didn't see him hit anything, he looked like he came in and got his new car. So he'll be back out at the back of the field.
Well, we've got 2 cautions so far as we are working lap number 14 now. Get these out of the way early. It's been a long day here on the Global Sim Racing Channel as we had the honor and responsibility of covering the DGFX 10 hours from Nürburgring. And we covered all of them, including qualifying. I get to lose 11 hours of broadcasting.
And we also had Tim Shanowski come in, so he'll come out. Looks like he's going to come out. So Kurt Smith got an EOL, and Tim is going to line up ahead of him. So he'll be on the inside, I believe, going into this double wide restart.
Now they file into two wide. Joshua Banks, your point leader, sitting back there on the outside of row number 5 in 10th.
Pace car is in. Here we go, folks.
Watch J.R. Shepard, the old veteran. Let's see what kind of run he gets. Oh, a great jump from the 21. Not so sure if that wasn't what Shepard wanted. I think he's just as happy to be able to tuck it in into second without having to worry about getting freight trained. Oh, and going high now is the 21, and that's going to open the door for JR. He's going to wait. Nope. He's not going to wait because here he goes. New
Look
leader.
at that. So aside from JR, we are 2 wide, almost 3 wide on that 4th row there. They're really packing it up going into these turns here.
That blue number 14 has 2 cars chasing him. The one on the top side, that's Mike Allen. Allen losing positions. Todd Liston goes underneath, and Allen stuck up top. That's Joshua Banks in the 36 car.
Oh, the
Banks is
87's around.
spinning right in front of Banks again. My God, he's scaring the cars out of the way. That time, it was Todd Liston.
Same situation as before, same exact situation as Kurt Smith. Got that left wheel down off the banking, and that just spins the left-right wheel, and it just makes you go around with the onboard shot there. Yeah, it's hard to keep these cars going straight, and with the cold temperatures, those tires are going to start losing grip a little bit quicker than you'd expect. It's not the same as a hot track, but it still makes you lose grip more than you'd think.
Somebody needs to check Joshua Bank for telekinesis ability. See if he can bend spoons, because cars are just spinning out of the way for him, and he's picking up spot after spot.
Yep, and even after his early troubles, he's all the way back up to 6th position. This is a big deal for the point.
J.R. Shepard out in front, and so that margin now becomes much closer as Banks continues to work his way through the field. There we go. Looking there if they're coming at you. John Hines started on the pole, now is in 2nd position. Let's talk about a big mover. I talked about him earlier, the number 14. We put the camera on him while during practice he was sitting in the pit lane, feeling confident, and here he is. Started in 12th, up in 5th. That means he's in the odd position. Adam, he'll be inside of row 3. Look for him to pick up a few more spots.
Yeah, Kenny Kibbe's been doing really well, keeping his nose out of trouble and just making sure to hug that inside line. Another really big mover is the number 4 of Zane Farrell, also up 7 positions. He's back in the P11 spot, but he has progressed his way all the way from the back of the field back up to the front. So as we line up 2 wide now, those 2 are drivers to watch for sure.
Zane Farrell been around for a handful of races now. This is his debut season. We're getting to know him a little bit, and we're being impressed by what he can do. Pace car peels off. Well, let's try to go green one more time. Let's avoid the catchphrases. Maybe that's causing the yellow. So let's just see what happens if they do it. Commentator calls it the old-fashioned way. We're under green.
Lots of bumping and banging on the inside line.
Yeah, the 00 car. That is Matt Shanowski. He wants that spot, the 21. John Hines started on the pole, stuck on the high side. The 14 car back there, we talked about him. Kibbe didn't make up as much ground as we might have thought. He's got Joshua Banks to his outside. That's a fun battle between the 14 of Kibbe and Banks in the 36. Both drivers very fast.
Looks like everyone's starting to string out a little bit. We still have Robbie Robinson outside of Tristan Martz back in the back of the pack here, the number 66. But they've all also lined out as well. Looks like everyone's decided, you know what, I think we're done with cautions for a little bit. Let's do some green flag running.
I'll tell you right now, we drop back to the 14 car. In fact, Kibbe goes a little bit high, and that's going to let Banks get underneath him. So let's move the point leader now up into, what would that be, 5th position? Yep.
Banks is showing his prowess. He's really got that thing hooked up on the bottom end. He's diving it in late into the corner so he can get a really good run and rock it out onto those straights. He's got this place nailed down.
And honestly, right now, J.R. Shepard, he needs some green flags. He was out there in clean air. He's running. He would like to just start cooking with hot fish grease and see if he can just run away from this thing. But the yellows just bring him back every time, and that just gets him closer to the guy he's racing with, and with a Bank.
Looks like we have side by side with James Lowe and John Hine right there. Looks like we've got We got James Lowe on the inside and John Hine trying to go around the outside. This is going to slow up Joshua Banks' progress for sure as he pushes up right on the inside here. Looks like they're going to try and put John Hine. They're going to put him up on the high end and try and make him go to the back.
Yellow flag. Who was it? It looks like Zane Farrell. Again, boy. Corner number 4.
Corner number 4 is a big problem for these guys. They're just spinning and spinning and spinning their tires as soon as they get down on that flat spot.
Somebody needs to go out with some kitty litter and get the oil off the track. Here we go. Around he goes.
We're on board with him now. Yeah, watch him just hook those left tires there down on the flat, and then he just goes around. You know, it's a hard thing to get trained for, but those little rumble strips that they put on the inside, it's there for this specific reason, to try and dissuade drivers from putting those left side tires down on that flat. And whenever those tires go over those rumble strips, it unseats the car a little bit, and then you get that torque steer, and the thing just starts spinning on you.
All right, so what does that mean? Well, J.R. Shepard's still out in front. Matt Shanowski's going to be on the outside of him now. If your last name is Lowe, it seems only appropriate that you'd be underneath, and that's where James Lowe is going to be in the 99 car. He'll be starting down low inside of row 2. You might be wondering, well, Soup, where's Joshua Banks? He'll be starting inside of row 4, back there in 7th.
Yeah, he lost a couple of positions going into that yellow flag. I'm going to need to go back and look and see where he lost those.
Working lap number 35 of 100. I can do the math. 65 left.
All right, so I figured out where he lost those positions. Zane Farrell was blocking the track coming off of 4. He was just sitting in the middle of the track, and Joshua Banks went to the bottom of the track to get out of the way to make sure no one was hitting him, and it looks like iRacing decided that merited him going back a few positions.
Oh. Boy, Banks has not been a stranger to calamity this race. Got involved in the first big one, had 2 cars spin out in front of him, and now almost got some incidents there with that one. Okay, multi-time champion J.R. Shepard in his familiar number 98 has control of the field. Come around, he gets a good jump. Shanowski in the 00 trying to get a little momentum going into 1, see if he can slip down and protect second position. He's got a good run, and he is clear now if he wants to do it. Not going to bring that down. He's going to stay up top.
Now it's risky putting your nose in there. It's risky diving down when those guys are going to be packing into the corners. He tries it this time. Looks like he's going to pull off the move.
He gets it done, and taking it really deep was Low, and he has to now drift up to the top side. We got another caution.
Looks like it's Kenny.
Kibbe, yep.
Yeah, Kibbe in the back. Looks like he's going to take a tow, but let's see what happened here.
Got a little help from Curtis Smith.
Yeah, those moves that they were making up at the front of the pack were just shuffling everybody backward. Everyone's getting on the brakes early and earlier going into the turns, and it looks like Kurt Smith just couldn't blow it up fast enough for Kibbe coming down low.
He gets in. Now watch the... boy, Smith kind of drifts up a little bit off that bottom line. Kibbe didn't give him a whole lot of room.
No, Kibbe was forcing Smith underneath that white painted line down onto the flat, and we've seen what the flat does, so drivers are trying to avoid it now, and that just put Kibbe into a spin.
Banks has worked his way up to 6th, picking up a spot. Little by little, he's coming.
Yeah, you know, Soup, some drivers really thrive on adversity, and something gives me the feeling that Joshua Banks is that kind of driver. With all this adversity that's been going on, he's been cranking in fast laps. He's also keeping it clean. He's scaring drivers into mistakes, threatening them into mistakes. I think Joshua Banks is that kind of driver that I love to watch. One that, even when trouble happens, he really just, grits his teeth and just gets in there. And so I'm looking forward to seeing whether he can get up to the front and challenge J.R. Shepard this race.
You know, it'd be interesting to talk to him, see if he likes these yellow flags, if it plays out to his advantage. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It keeps him in the mix. He doesn't lose any distance to Shepard because everyone's always bunched up, and it allows for some passing opportunities. On the other hand, every lap raced under yellow is a lap that he can't make up any position. So my guess is that Banks would like it to go green a little bit, and he'd do it the old-fashioned way. Talking about going green, let's try it one more time. Shanowski laying back a little bit. There's a good jump from Shepard. Shanowski has the room if he wants to take it in this time. And he's comfortably in second position.
Oh man, the battle for third's really getting tight here.
James Lowe trying to make that car as wide as a Julia Roberts smile, trying to fend off attacks from the top and bottom. On the low side, it's Hine. On the top side, it's Allen. Right behind, there's two cars side by side back there, too. Brian Dean and Banks is still stuck up top. Look at the pace that Banks has in that 36 car, even though he's on the high side.
Yeah, some drivers don't like getting trapped high, but Banks, thriving off that adversity, just makes it stick, and he's got a little bit of room to the low end. He decides not to slot in, but he's really trying to make that outside line work.
Boy, he's paid for this position with so much rubber. He really wants to get it, but he cannot. Eventually, the top side gives away, and he's got to slot down into 7th.
Oh, no!
Getting in front of him again was Brian Dean.
Unbelievable. The same thing happened again.
Dean was able to keep the car going straight, and tip of the hat to Joshua Banks for staying off of it, but it's cost him a lot of momentum. He's fallen back now to 9th and stuck on the outside.
Meanwhile, Shepard has opened up almost a second lead at the front. Joshua Banks is going to have a lot of work to do, but here we go. Another battle here between Tim Shanowski and it looks like Ruben Altice. Oh, 3 wide. Oh, no!
Banks in it again. He keeps it going straight. He got together with Tristan Marks. No caution.
3 wide, and they somehow get together, and then they save it. Unbelievable save from Joshua Banks. This man is a legend.
They were head towards the inside wall. Somehow they both managed to keep it going. Banks is back in 11th now.
What a battle.
Look at the chaos in front of him. That 9 car is Kurt Smith. The car on the outside, Ruben Altice. Banks looking for somewhere to put the car.
There's nowhere to go. He's stuck up on the high side behind cars 2 wide. He's really going to have to try and slot something in there and maybe make it 3 wide to try and make the pass.
Not only, yeah, he's stuck, and the cars up top are slower. He just lost a spot to Robbie Robinson.
All the way back to 13th.
Banks racing the entire race in the second row, the second lane. Single file in front of him.
His gap up to J.R. Shepard now back to almost 9 seconds now, and he's still trapped on the outside. Whoa, big whoa up in front, and it looks like we got a car going around.
Off the racing line. I'm not sure if we're going to get the yellow. We do not. It was Todd Liston.
Todd. And now we got
get
Kurt Smith.
Gonna bring.
Kurt Smith around again.
And you know who it happened right in front of?
No, don't say it.
Joshua Banks. Incredible. I'm looking at this one. Maybe this time there was a little encouragement from the Banks.
All right, we're going to take you back to a moment of racing that was just so epic. We're going back to the 3 wide save from Joshua Banks. Let's take it back to here. Look at this right here. He gets hit in the... Oh, I can't believe he saved that. That is an unbelievable move, Soup.
Welcome to the Bootleg Racing League, sponsored by the Cruise Shop.
This is the kind of action we come here for. Watch him get deep here, and he comes up, and then the 26 right underneath just clips his left rear, and that gets him so loose, and he actually gets saved by the same car getting into his left front. It's a miracle he survived it, and that he's still racing, pointed the right direction, when so many cars have, in the same situation, been turned around backwards.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was beginning to run away with it. That was J.R. Shepard. He's out there just saving his stuff, running Smooth as dolphin skin out there. He is the car to beat. He'll have Matt Shanowski to his outside when we go green, but it's been proven Shanowski has nothing for J.R. Shepard during the start.
You know,
James Lowe will once again be low in third plot. Go ahead.
You know, as good as this race seems to be going for J.R. Shepard, these cautions are not what he wants to see. This just gives people an opportunity to get up close to him and potentially get into his back. So J.R. Shepard honestly wants this to go green because Joshua Banks clearly is just going backwards, getting stuck in the outside lane.
Raise your hand if you'd like to see this go green from here to the checkered flag. My hands are up. I'd raise two, but I got to push one button so I can talk. Wait a minute. Here's what happens. Nothing happens. There, I lost. My mic didn't work. J.R. Shepard, Matt Shanowski, James Lowe, John Hine, Mike Allen, Brian Dean, your front three rows as they line up 2 by 2.
Joshua Banks is going to line up in P11. You know, even after all that mess, he really hasn't lost that many positions. He still has a chance here.
It is a tale of two cities. J.R. Shepard out in front with nothing to worry about. His biggest rival back there fending off.
Green flag, here we go.
And there we go. My mic went away. We are back. J.R. Shepard comfortably out in front. Janowski in second. Battle back for fourth position.
Yeah, looks like we got James Lowe, Mike Allen, and John Hine fighting it out here. Fighting it out for third and fourth. Looks like we've got Brian. Brian's coming up underneath here. He's going to try and put John Hine on the high side, string him out. We've seen what that does to good drivers like Joshua Banks. Oh, looks like John Hine got in the wall there a little bit.
He did a little bit of the wall for the 21. The 07, Tim Shanowski gets underneath him now.
Joshua Banks up 2 positions from the start up to P9, but he's trapped behind this battle now. Everyone's straying out, so that gives him a better opportunity. Whoa, another one loose off the floor.
Oh, no! Got one in the wall.
That was not what was in front of.
Yep. My gosh. And again, well, that again was a little bit of assistance there from the bank. The bank showing a lot of interest in that car ahead of him.
I think he's getting a little impatient. What do you think, Sue?
I think so.
So it looks like the 11 checked up a little bit for a battle that was happening ahead of him, and Joshua Banks just couldn't get out of it fast enough. Let's watch it on board right now with Joshua Banks.
Yeah, and you know, we're not going to put that one on Banks. You know where that checkup came from? Right before that, you called it that another car got loose coming out of 4, and that's what caused everybody to check up. Corner number 4 here is as my director, when he commentates, would call it a great word, diabolical, and really, it's just brutal.
Yeah, it looks like people have set up these cars tonight to be extremely loose, and they think that's the fastest way around the track, but it's really showing that it's a trade-off when you get a setup that's this edgy. The trade-off is that it may be fast. This fixed setup may be fast, but the trade-off is that it's going to make you super loose off the corners. So everyone's struggling with this exact same problem because of it's a fixed setup race, and that's what's making this so exciting. It looks like people are having trouble getting power down off of turn 4 because of how loose it is.
Well, everyone might be a bit encompassing there, as one driver that seems to have it handled without any problems is J.R. Shepard. Didn't take him long. Started 8th to get to the front, and once he got there, he's been comfortable. JR, 33 laps to go, 32 laps when you cross the line here.
Can you believe it's already been 6 to 8 laps, Soup? This race has been so intense.
You know, one advantage to the yellow flags for Shepard is at least he doesn't have to worry about lap traffic.
Definitely, yeah. Lap traffic is a big factor that we haven't had to deal with so far. And it looks like J.R. Shepard might not have to deal with it to the end of the race if we're looking at the race going the way it has so far. But hopefully, everyone's going to calm down a little bit more, track's going to cool down a little bit more, give us a little bit more grip, and we'll be able to go green to the end.
Let's talk about our hard charger. That's in the 07 car of Tim Shanowski. Started 16th, up into 6th. Who's in the transfer position? Todd Liston. Racing back in 12th. Pace car is in. Let's see if Matt Shanowski has been sandbagging here. Does he have something for the veteran? Nothing, as Shepard gets a great jump. The good news, Shanowski, though, gets a good jump on James Lowe. That second spot's his if he wants it. Lowe continues to be the cork in the bottle early on these green flag runs as they're coming from both angles. Dean down low, Allen up high.
Looks like they're all slotting in now, trying to get a little bit more single file because they know that that's the fastest way around the track. Here goes Joshua Banks underneath John Hine right now.
They got checked up a bit and then opened the door. Banks goes ahead and gets that pass made. Move them up into 6th. Works on the back of Mike Allen.
Mike Allen's blocking the bottom line, trying to make sure that Joshua Banks does not have an opportunity to slot in and push him wide. That's a smart move from Mike Allen, but Joshua Banks is going to run out of patience at some point.
It's the drive off of corner number 2 that Banks is just unstoppable. He just gets a good run. He gets his nose in there. It is impossible for Allen to cover and give another spot to Joshua Banks.
He's free now up to Brian Dane in 4th, so let's see how fast he can get going. John Hine also putting Mike Allen out. Mike got super tight going into that turn there. He's going backwards. Yeah, Mike Allen from 5th to 9th in just the case of a couple of turns. That shows how competitive these guys are. These times are really close. J.R. Shepard now has opened up the gap to about 0.5 seconds over Matt Shanowski.
Yeah, the front 4 race single file about 3 car lengths apart. So they just start to crank off the laps. That interval from Dean to Banks now is 1.3 seconds. Let's see what Joshua can do. He has nobody in front of him to slow him down anymore as he sits in 5th. Let's take a look at 7th position. This is making the move underneath. This is Tim Shanowski. Continues his climb up. He gets one more spot as he gets up into 7th. That's 11 positions forward.
Yeah, Austin's looking like he's having a hard time getting down to the white line here in the turns. Looks like he's packing in a little bit too much speed, which is making him push a little wide.
Things settling down a bit. You can see at the top of your screen back there, racing in 12th position, it's Robbie Robinson, comfortably in that transfer spot, not being pressured by Ruben Altiz in 13th. Driver we've hardly talked about. Can we give it a little screen time to Lowell Jewell, racing in 11th? Quiet run from the old guy.
After Lowell's early troubles, he's been just slowly picking his way back up front. Due to all these yellows, he hasn't had the progress that he's wanted, I don't think, but up to 11th place, that's a pretty impressive run from the back of the field in those first couple laps. Todd Liston getting a little loose off of 4 again. That turn 4 is really causing people trouble tonight, and looks like we're not done.
Yeah, it's a nice little train going back there. Boylke in 11th, Allen in 8th, Allen in 9th, Liston, Jewell, then Robinson in 12th. All those will transfer. They don't have to worry about anything happening from behind. Ruben Altiz back by about 15 car lengths.
Listed underneath Allen right now for Pete. Oh, big wreck. 24 got loose, and Todd Liston just clobbered him.
Coming out of 4. The Devil's Corner. Boylke gets loose. And my goodness. They're not going to be able to bury him in a Jewish cemetery because he got tattooed.
Oh, huge, huge damage there.
Cannot keep track of the fast repairs, but if Austin has used one already, but that was painful. Well, J.R. Shepard, who was having his luggage checked for stolen towels because he had checked out, well, he's back now. Right next to Matt Shanowski. And Joshua Banks is going to be inside of row 3, within spitting distance of J.R. Shepard.
So that wreck caused a lot of damage. Austin Bulkey, we got Todd Liston who had damage, Ruben Autiste, Zane Farrell, they all had major damage coming off of that wreck. And we have a couple in the pits. Ruben Autiste is in the pits right now, still getting service done. I think he might have already spent his fast repair and is now just getting damage repaired the hard way.
Yeah. Well, we talked about newcomer Tristan Martz. Tristan Rach is now in 12th position in the 28. Why does that matter? Well, if Martz can hold on for the next 12 laps, he'll be starting on the pole when we go to the season finale.
Yeah, the unique way that this series grids, that 12th position really is a coveted one. And, you know, sometimes you want to strategize a little bit and allow people to kind of shuffle you back a little bit so you get a better starting position if you know you're not going to be competitive this race. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, these drivers are competitive enough that they just want to get as many positions as possible, and they're not thinking about gridding for the next race. They're thinking about winning this race. So even though he's back in 12th, I'm sure Tristan Martz is dreaming of P1 right now.
Well, let's drill down a little bit on that. Let's take J.R. Shepard, who was trailing in the points by 3. He is ahead of Joshua Banks, who is in 5th position. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4 spots better, 1st to 5th. Probably enough points to put Shepard in the lead when they leave here. But of course, when they go to the season finales, the pace car pulls in. Banks will be slotted ahead of him. That's assuming things stay the way they are. 10 laps to go. Let's hope we finish this one under green.
Oh, big checkups in the back.
We keep racing, fortunately. Banks picks up another position now. He moves up into 4th. He's got James Lowe ahead of him. Every point matters in the championship.
They're strung out the top 4. This gives Banks a good opportunity to try and make some passes here.
J.R. Shepard doing all he can do, and that is win. Matt Shanowski behind him. Lowe, Banks in 4th, looking for a way to get around the 99. The battle behind. Look at this. This is John Dean underneath Brian Dean. Oh, sorry. It's Brian Dean underneath John Hine.
And it looks like John Hine has got that top side working out for him a little bit. He can stay he can stay right alongside Brian Dean. But looks like, you know, just after a couple of laps, those tires get too hot and you can't hold it anymore.
Yeah, let's get that sorted out. John Hine gets the position. Brian Dean on the top side is stuck in 8th position.
And Joshua Banks just got into the wall a little bit. James, it was Matt Shanowski that was woeing up a little bit, and he just got up into the wall just a tiny bit off of turn 4.
4 to go. J.R. Shepard pulling away. Shanowski in 2nd, looks to be safe. Don't think James Lowe has anything for 3rd. Joshua Banks back there may have ran out of car. That might be all she wrote for the 36.
And back down there, the battle for 6th is still pretty hot. It looks like Robbie Robinson's actually going to go for 7th here underneath Brian Dane, maybe. But we should go back to the lead. J.R. Shepard looks like he might pull this off.
2 to go. Coming out of corner number 4, he's going to see the white flag, looking to pick up his 2nd win of the season. 4 corners between him and the checkered flag. We're talking multi-time champion J.R. Shepard. Looks like the car behinds are all going to have to settle for those spots. Out of corner number 4, let's give the penultimate round of the 2019 winter season schedule to J.R. Shepard. Matt Shanowski, James Lowe, and Joshua Banks round out your top 4.
Robbie Robinson and Brian Dane finish side by side for P7 and P8. Brian Dane takes it for P7.
And the Butler did it. Dan Butler got to 12th position. He'll be starting on the pole for the season finale in his number 22 machine. Congratulations to Butler.
What a great race, Soup.
That was fun. I had fun calling. I had fun having you here next to me. We're going to take a short break right now because the racing is done here in Las Vegas, but we will be back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. You're watching GSRC. Sponsored by the good folks at the Cruise Shop, you're watching the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw Modified Series, round number 11 of the 2019 winter season schedule. This was the penultimate round, one more after this one, and J.R. Shepard, multi-time champion, picked up the win, and we believe will be sitting in the points lead going into the season finale. Matt Shanowski, who had the season opener win, comes home in second. James Lowe did a really good job of hanging on to that final podium spot. Joshua Banks, my gosh, he had a season full of excitement happen in front of him. He gets fourth. Tim Shanowski rounds out your top five. The back half of your top 10, John Hine, Brian Dean, Robbie Robinson up 3 spots into 8th, Lowell Jewell in 9th, and Kurt Smith up 7 spots to round out your top 10. Adam?
We got Mike Allen coming home in 11th position, Dan Butler in 12th position, and he gets the transfer spot, the final transfer spot. We also have Tristan Martz in the 13th position, Austin Bulkey in the 14th position, Todd Liston coming in 15th, 16th is Zane Farrell, and after some serious trouble, we got Kenny Kibbe in 17th and Ruben Altice after that big hard wreck, finishing in the final position on the grid, 18th.
As I have done so many times, I have the honor to talk to J.R. Shepard, our race winner today. I don't know what he's going to be able to tell us. He got to the front, and then he just kind of had to hit his marks, J.R. Is that kind of how it went?
Yeah, for once it was kind of an uneventful race. Kind of glad by that. I was a little frustrated at the start that I was going to be starting on the outside again. It seems like that keeps happening this year, but with that first accident, it kind of paid off to be on the high side.
Okay, I want to ask you this. You're out in front, and then we get the plethora of yellow flags. Now, I guess nobody can pass you when they're yellow, so that's good, but again, you can't stretch your lead, and it brings everybody close to you. I got to figure you're out in front. You like to stay green if you could.
Yeah, definitely. During our longest run there, I was hoping it would just stay green. The track was clean, and it looked like everybody was kind of spaced out for a little bit, so I was really hoping we'd get some laps in, and then it just seemed one after the other. They just kept occurring.
All right, well, we tried to do a little math here at GSRC, and that's never a good thing, but we think your first place finish and Joshua Banks in 4th, we think that's going to put you ahead in the points for the first time this season, going into the season finale. Unfortunately, you're going to be a couple spots behind Joshua. good luck in that finale. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. He's starting ahead, and that's never good in the last race of the year. So we'll see what happens. It looks like I'm going to be starting on the outside once again. So just have to try to get a good start and be aggressive when I need to, and see how it works out. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. If not, we'll go back and regroup.
All right. Well, the Patriots won another one. Let's see if you can get one here as the dynasty continues. That is J.R. Shepherd. Good luck down the road.
Hey, thanks, guys. And let me give a shout out to the Cruise Shop for being a great partner with us this season. They've really done a lot with us, and for Lowell for organizing this thing. And of course, Matt Shinosky and James Lowe tonight coming home second and third. They were up front all night. Did a great job.
They did a good job of protecting your six. J.R. Shepherd, our race winner. Okay, Adam, who you got?
I got Matt Shanowski here. Matt Shanowski coming home in second position. This was a race that was hampered by a lot of yellow flags, but did you have anything for J.R. Shepherd, do you think, on those long green runs?
Absolutely not. He was in a class by himself today. I was just trying to hold off James and everyone else and try to hang on to second. JR was in a league of his own tonight.
We saw a lot of people having trouble coming off of turn 4. With this fixed setup, were you guys getting super loose off of 4, or what do you think was the issue there?
It would definitely get loose off of turn 4, especially if you put 2 tires on the apron there on the flat. It was very tricky to handle.
Awesome. And so you were battling with James Lowe throughout the race, and you were holding him off pretty well. What do you think was your favorite moment of this race?
Just being able to come up through the field and get up to second. That was pretty great. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome. You made up 5 positions all the way up to a P2 finish. Good job, Matt. Is there anyone you want to thank tonight?
I want to thank the Cruise Shop for sponsoring our league. And just want to thank all the racers with Bootleg Racing League, and thanks to GSRC for the great broadcasts.
Awesome. Thanks for the great show, Matt, and congrats on P2. Soup, it looks like you have Lowe, I believe. Is that correct?
I got James Lowe. We're going to be able to bring him in right now. We'll give James a little shout out. James, nice job. Congratulations on that third place finish. Boy, you started 6th, you got up to 3rd, you had all those restarts on the inside of row 2. They were coming from all angles on you at the very.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get a little bit longer runs. My car came in about 5 to 6 laps into the run, so there at the beginning it was a little bit of a struggle once we took off.
So you didn't like the way the car. I could get that impression early on because when we would go green, man, they were coming at you. And then when we got going a little bit, you got comfortable in your line, and you guys would start to Shepherd, Shanowski, you, and Banks would just kind of run 1, 2, 3, 4. But early on, boy, they come at.
Yeah, it was like that. Every restart took about to lap 5 to get going really good, and then I would start pulling in Matt, and as soon as I get up to him, another caution would come out and end the run. But overall, it's a good night, and
I watched you for the whole race. Did you ever have the car to the high side, or did you do 100 laps right there by the white line?
I stuck to the white line, even a little bit below it already.
Hey, congratulations on the 3rd place. Good luck in the season finale coming up.
Thanks, guys.
James Lowe, our 3rd place finisher. One last interview. We get the honor of being able to talk to Dan Butler. He did it. The Butler got there as he got into 12th position. We're going to let Adam go ahead. Why do we care about Dan Butler? Because he's going to start on the pole next round. Adam?
Yeah, Dan, maybe not the race you were looking forward to, but you come out as the pole sitter for the next race. What do you think you could do with that pole going into the final race of the season?
Yeah, thanks. I was hoping to have a good start. A good race tonight, starting 5th. Had a little mishap on the first lap. Somebody spun in front of me and picked my way back through the field the best I could. But yeah, South Boston next week, tight little track, a lot of braking, and I know it's the finale, so I definitely mindful of who's running for a championship. I don't want to get anybody's way on that, but at the same time, at least love to run up front. These guys are so darn fast in this league, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there was a lot of bottlenecks throughout that race, a lot of early braking going into the corners, and a lot of people getting shuffled up to the top side. You think anyone really had the pace to make the top side work tonight?
You got to be real good to do that. It was almost no grip out there at all. And then you got to be mindful too, coming off the turn. If you try to stay up there for the guy on the inside, coming up just a little bit too much. So I think that's pretty much what was happening tonight. Just pretty much it was a freight train if you were stuck on the outside. I think that happened to me 1 or 2 different restarts. I'd get up in a good spot and we'd have a restart, look down, see that I'm starting on the outside, and you shake your head and here we go again.
Well, you're starting to pull for the next race, so good luck to you. Is there anyone else you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Foul Weather Farm, Charlton, Mass. They're always on my car every league I've been in, and sit there and watch these races. And Dan Butler Designs, and just the league itself letting me in here. It's only my 4th race, I believe, and it's probably the most competitive league I've ever been in. These guys are great. It's a workout, and thank you guys, man. Heck of a broadcast. I've been watching them, and it's outstanding. You guys do a great job.
I can't get you out of here on this one. I need to know more. Foul Weather Farms. Do they grow food there, or is it like chickens?
Oh, well, it's funny. It's a friend of mine named Chad. It's a farm. It's a chickens, geese, pretty much every kind of fowl you can think of. And but he's also a storm chaser. So Foul Weather Farm.
Got it.
Pretty catchy.
All right, that's good to know. All right, Dan Butler, our pole sitter going into the season finale. Hey, let's thank everybody at the Bootleg Racing League for organizing the Outlaw Modified Series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. For more information about Bootleg Racing League, well, you don't have to use your imagination. It's facebook.com/Bootleg Racing League or simply bootlegracingleague.com. Thanks to the series sponsor, The Cruise Shop. Call them at 260-755-6125, or better yet, how about this? thecruiseshopfw.com, FW for Fort Wayne. They'll set you up with something exciting. On screen now are just some of the equipment and software we use to stream cyberspace into your place. The original music that lets your ears alert your eyes you're watching a GSRC Productions comes courtesy of Eric Eckelman and June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them. The Bootleg Racing League will leave Las Vegas corner number 4 behind us, and we will be here next week for the season finale when we come to you from South Boston. GSRC will be there. We hope you join us. Sliding across your screen right now are just some of the upcoming broadcasts, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Here's how you get in contact with us. GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. Try Twitter, GSR Channel. Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel. Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by hitting the big red button on our YouTube page. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, that would be Adam, Joe, and Dougie, and best wishes to Sean, who's watching, I know. I'd like to thank all of you for watching. As it is, J.R. Shepard picking up his 2nd win of the season here in Las Vegas. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.